Okay, so next we're going to move on to the fabric paints. The fabric paints are great because they come in 3 different types. You've got the pearlescent, which has got a lovely shimmery effect once it's dried. You've got the fluorescent, which are lovely and bright, like the orange here on the plate. And you've got the plain, the kind of flat paint colour, which are all intermixable, so you can actually teach children how to create their own colours. So for instance, in the flat paints, mixing together the red and the blue, you're going to get purple. So they're great mediums for teaching children colour mixing. So I'm going to start with, again, I'm going to use a template. I'm going to use one of the fabric pens. I'm going to go around my letter shape again. So again, this is another technique that I use with children, and what we're producing today is a banner, which is a lovely activity that children really like to do. So I've traced around again with my pen. I'm then going to get a really nice flat brush and I'm going to dip into the pearlescent blue paint. And this goes on really nicely. You can use a flat brush to get good coverage and spreads the paint nicely. You can get into the edges very easily. I mean, this is great for children because they love paint. And the fact that they've got kind of different textures and they've got bright colours and they can get different effects is great for them. The paints are very safe for children. And like I said before, they're intermixable and they are washable, they're water based. So if you get anything on your clothing, they will wash out. And the way to set the paints after you've completed your project is by heat. So what you tend to do is iron on the back of your work, usually on a cotton setting, usually with adult supervision obviously, and then that will set all the colours. I like to set, to be honest, everything. I like to set the crayons as well as the paint so that I know that once that product, particularly as a t-shirt, has to go in the wash, then you know that it's going to come out intact and the work is not going to be lost. So this is just a quick demo of this. I'm probably not being as accurate as I usually am, but it's just to show you how lovely they are. They go on so easily, really smooth, and again you get great coverage. It's got such a nice texture, and like I say, when they're dry, particularly things like the pearlescent and the fluorescent, they have a fantastic effect. So I'm just going to show you that one quickly. Whoops! If you get an idea of that. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly show you another technique to use with the fabric paint. I'm just going to use a sponge, basic sponge, and I have stuck my template down with just double-sided tape, just quickly, to make sure that it doesn't move. I'm going to take a little bit of paint off the plate, so I'm just going to use the flat red colour, and all the plain colours are really nice, they're very bright, and I'm just going to then sponge around my template, and this gives a lovely effect, very easy. Kids love using things like this, household sponges, anything like that, or rag rolled up. It just gives another effect to the textile project. I'm using a cotton mix square for all of these, and obviously the paints and the crayons and the pens are probably best on something like a cotton based product, but you can trial things, you can trial different base fabrics and see what works, because you can always get different effects that you kind of weren't expecting, and so that's kind of quite a nice surprise usually. So that I've literally just sponged around the template, and I'm just going to peel that off so that you can see the effect underneath, which has left the T-shape, but it's really nice. Again, another one to kind of add to your repertoire of techniques. Right, so the last one to do with fabric paint is this, and this is one that kids really love to do. What I do is I take some of the fabric paint and I squeeze it into a trigger pump bottle, and then I just add in a little bit of water and I shake it around to kind of get them to mix, and it basically waters down the fabric paint so it becomes sprayable. And then using the same technique before, which is actually sticking on your stencil so it doesn't move, we then use the trigger pump buckle to spray paint. And it gives this lovely, gives different effects. It kind of gives like a Jackson Pollock effect, or you can get a more graffiti effect depending on how you open and close the nozzle. But again, it's just something that children really enjoy doing. If I just blot that, and then again take the stencil off, you can get basically an outline. And then you can draw around that in pen, you can fill it in, or you can leave it as it is. But again, it's another great technique for using the fabric paint.